Hi everyone, this is Susie from Minnesota. I garden in Zone 4 and I'm taking you on a tour of my containers. And this is the one that's in the whiskey barrel. All of these coleus were cuttings of mine. This one is just taken over, and it usually does. I can't believe how tall that's gotten in there. I think I'll have to be taking more cuttings here. I had some wire baskets that I lined with some canvas. Had some cuttings left over, coleus cuttings. This is a sun patient. There. It's a nice bright pink. All in all, I really like this area. This is filled out unbelievably. This is the beginning of July, if I did not say that earlier. I was expecting more color to come here with the sun patients, but yeah, that's okay. Coleus can be a beast. This is filling out pretty nicely. You can see down in here, I did get some soaker hoses. And I have been using them. We just have not been getting the rain. Some areas of my state have been getting it. I have not. I would say June, maybe 2 inches of rain total. And that might be pushing it. The greater quaking oats grass here is not doing the best, so I don't know what I'm going to do, if I'm going to keep it. I don't know if it's just not liking the heat or who knows, but I still love the heads on it. Just think they're so neat. If we'd have the rain, because lately we've been having 90-degree weather, high 80s, lots of humidity, but we just haven't been getting rain. And rain makes a difference. Nothing beats rain. Last year, I think it rained every day, or every other day. It was constant. My rain barrel was always full. I was having to empty it because I couldn't keep up with it. And I never had to water anything. This year, it's been pretty much a daily, every other day. These sun patients are really pretty too. It's just the camera doesn't do them justice. Because far away they look white, but in person they're like this light pink. If you can see it in there. These have got to be my favorite this year. I have Velveteen Coleus in here. The greater quaking oats grass over here. Again, they're not doing too good. They're getting a little floppy, but I kind of like how they peek through everything once in a while. The wind has been wreaking havoc on it. And what can I say about the caladiums? They're absolutely gorgeous. These are white queen. And then I have a spider plant down here that's sending off a bunch of babies. But you really can't see it because of the caladiums. I'm not complaining because they are really spectacular. I just love how some are a little brighter pink in there. And then you get over to this side where it's probably a little more shaded and a little more white. Alright, we were in the shady spot, and now we are going to be going into the sun. I am sorry, but I can honestly say that I'm getting kind of tired of the sun. And over here I have Sophie Cascade Ivy Geranium. And I figured this pot out. I fertilize every 2 weeks. And I kind of let it dry out in between waterings, and what helps me figure that out is the verbena goes a little wilty, and then I know it's time to water, so it's been working out. And I love the verbena in here. I'm so sorry about the sun. But yeah, this is really filled out nicely. Okay, hopefully you can see this on camera because I'm not seeing much. Over in here is where I have the 4 plants that I'm doing a fertilizer test on. And I had to pinch some because in the wind they were getting really floppy, breaking. So they've really bushed out. This one's really nice. So far no buds on the ones that I have fertilized. But the one that's not being fertilized, I have blooms. And it's Black and Bloom Salvia. The hummingbirds have been crazy. And I have to be careful because I do have a wren still nesting over here. This pot here is not going to stay here. What I'm going to do is once this wren is done nesting in this little house, I'll shift that forward and then that pot will go back there. Because I had to do some things over here differently. And this I have Scaevola. And I had Coleus in here that I had to move because it was getting bleached by the sun. And I'll show you where I have that. The Scaevola is bouncing back. There was a day when it was in the high 90s and I came back from work and I was fried. So I gave it a haircut and actually it's bounced back really nicely. Creeping Jenny is a plant I pulled from my garden and that's looking really great. And the Gomphrena in here were seeds I had started earlier in the season. Any time I say seeds, I started them about April, maybe end of March with some. And they're mine. And I love this. The Gomphrena is just so nice. So I am really liking this container. It's taken a lot of watering. The purple of the Scaevola is so vibrant. I love that with the lime green of the Creeping Jenny. And I love the Creeping Jenny over here because once it touches the ground, it's not going to root anywhere over here. In here, I just have one zinnia. It's purple. It's a Benaries. I never know how to say that, but it's doing really good. The minute I had trimmed that one that was in the middle, all of these started to bloom. Oh, and then in this pot here, it's just Cosmos that I had left over from my seeds. So I have a hard time throwing away plants. And I had some, and these are just plastic pots that I got from, my nursery has a little shed where people recycle their stuff, and I took it. It's nothing fantastic, but it's just a container for my plants. My plants do the talking. I do have some containers that I really like, but like this one's really neat. This is one of my favorites. Only issue with this is I did have, and look at this Datura. Isn't it amazing? It is just loaded. The yellow one right now has to be my favorite. It did have some bug issues, and then I had sprayed it and it looks to be doing really good. But because, I don't know, look how big. That might show you how big these blooms are. Because it's so loaded with blooms and so top heavy, what happened is I did have it, my hands are very shaky, I'm sorry, I don't know why that is. I had it in this container, and then it was windy the other day, came out and it tipped that way because it's a little heavier on this side because of this part here, and it fell into my rose bush and broke off a fair amount of pieces in there. That's okay. I trimmed it up. It'll be fine. But I had this ceramic pot here. I think I got this for about $10. It was on sale. And heavy, heavy, heavy pot. So I transferred this into here. And then I have this stake back here just to hold it up. And then I had rearranged some plants, and in here I just put some Gaura. A lot of these plants are clearance plants. This one was it $2? When you wait long enough, you can find some good sales at your garden center. I keep looking still, because the Greater Quaking Oats grass in front, I'm not sure how I feel about that. I might replace it, and then, who knows. But this whole entire area, pretty much, and these were clearance plants here too, the Scaevola. So I think, what was it, $8 total for this entire, plus some seeds. That's not too bad. I'm trying to figure out, I'm going to swing you over here. It's going to be very bright. Show you the sweet peas. They are blooming. It doesn't look pretty because the wind just knocked them over, so I've got twine in here. This is Capani's original. Aren't they lovely? But I don't think they're going to last long, not with the heat that we've been having, because like all pea plants, they're starting to get brown and crusty inside there. So we'll see. More salvia down here. Again, hummingbirds love this. This is the color. It's a little deeper purple. Oops, focus. Another sun patient. I had added these, and this is a Cleome. Shorter variety. Let's see, I don't know if I have the tag in that one, but I added these because when these were just getting going, there was a lot of green, no blossoms, and I wanted to make this a little more cozier feeling. I'm always back here enjoying it. I mean, I'm outside more than I'm inside, so I just wanted to make it a little, I don't know, colorful. Yeah, this one looks a little windswept over here. I've been having issues too with my sweet peas forming heads, and then they're browning and falling off. So I don't know if that's due to heat. I know the one day I came, and usually I'm really good about keeping these watered since they like a lot of moisture. But that one day, it just, everything was so dry. I think it's a deep rockin' purple, if I'm not mistaken, by Proven Winners. Another salvia. I just kind of mimicked what's over on the other side. And this sun patient is looking really glorious. I love sun patients. They do pretty good for me. I'm not going to say all have been doing good, but most. I think they've been doing a lot better since the humidity has come. See, oh, I'm going to swing you over here real quick. Just this begonia. I love this begonia. It's like a kind of deepish yellow, and then it has apricot on the back side. And it's just loving its life there. I did clean this out the other day, so I'll be putting some squash over there. So these are the ones that I had to move because they were just kind of limping along. One of my dahlias, and I'll show you the container, rotted. I don't know why, because when I pulled it out, the soil was not waterlogged at all. This is a surviving one. This was looking really tough here. You can see some of the leaves were yellowing. So what I did is I just moved it into it. I think dahlias do better in their own containers and not competing with other plants. So it's over here. It's looking good. What I did is, because the leaves were looking really tough, I gave it a really good shot of fish emulsion. And I just, right now I don't want this to be blooming at all. I wanted to put out some really good green growth. And I had also cut it back big time. You can see in here, because there were buds on it, and I didn't want it to put any energy into those buds. I needed it to focus on its roots, because I think there's one little teeny tiny tuber connected to this plant, because 2 other parts were rotten. We will see what happens. And here I have a sun patient that was in another, and again, this was just limping along too. And I moved it over here. It looks a little bit better, but I'm going to say this is kind of like sick bay. And then in here, this one's doing fine. This was just another leftover, what's it, white datura, which it does have a blossom on. If I can get there quick, I do have some blooming before the sun really makes them shrivel. And then in here, this is finally, look, I stopped fertilizing the moonflower. And I just kind of watch it for when it starts to wilt a little bit. I give it a shot of water. I feel first, make sure it's not just the heat. But finally, this is the size of the leaves that they should be. So I'm finding that fertilizing on a regular basis has kind of making plants do different things. But yeah, oh, so pleased. Look. That's incredible. I don't even care if it doesn't put any blooms out right now. I just need it to look healthy. And here, you can't even see my fish anymore, Wanda. It's a Lobularia. The bees are crazy for this plant. Teeny tiny little itty bitty bees. I don't know if you can see them on camera. Really neat. Again, it's some extra additions to my garden. It has just been because they were clearance plants. And what can I say? I love flowers. I just think they're neat. And then this is a Kufia. Is it heather? Mexican heather? It's called lavender lace. Not many blooms on that right now. I think it kind of, is it setting any? Finally, this Agara is blooming. And that is such a nice bright pink. I'm very pleased with this. Just love how this looks, well, in this container, that looks really nice, how it plays off the colors of it. And it is such a nice, thick, happy plant. Beliza pink. Really, really like this one. And then sweet peas over here. This is Edward of York. And then I also have, there's a light pink back here is Molly Rollstone. I don't know, is this here, if I can get close. There's a lot of bees around here. So yeah, they're browning up, and I'm thinking it's the heat. Over in here, so this is where I had the dahlia that wasn't doing really good. And I know that a canna can be a water hog. But like I said, when I pulled that plant out, the soil was not like really wet. It was perfect. And the verbena is thriving here. I mean, if any plant is going to get not happy with a lot of water. I think it would be the verbena. But isn't that unreal? And then you can see you've got one long one in the way back there. And then in front, just the other day, I put in some Angelonia. And it's just a white one. We'll see how I like it. I'm kind of going with, this is a little bit of a patriotic planter, just because it's got the white, the red leaves, and then kind of a purple bluey color of the verbena. I never got to a 4th of July container this year, so we'll see. I've never grown Angelonia before, but it's a first time for everything. In here, I just, like I said, I have issues getting rid of my plants. I just have some morning glories that are doing really well in here, and they have really perked up, I would say, in the last 2 weeks. And then my aunt had a Spanish flag vine that was pretty puny looking, and it's doing really good. So it'll probably be too much for this container, but I'll just do some trimming. It should be okay. This sweet pea is doing the best. This is just loaded. And I have picked a bunch too. This is all Edward of York. There, in the shade. I was a little worried at first because these containers with the Edward of York looked really tough in the beginning, but all of a sudden it's like those roots took a hold and they look fantastic. I have a stray sweet pea down in here. Over in this container here, I don't know if I had talked about this, but these right here, I had pricked them all out because I had, this is a lollipop verbena. I had it in a planter last year by a hydrangea. It's self-seeded, and I pricked them all out, had 12 of them, and I let them get a little bit bigger, planted them in this container, and look at them. They're massive. I wasn't sure how they were going to do, but I figure if they were growing in that soil over there, they'll love this. This is another Scaevola that is loving its life here. It's amazing. And then this Datura got a little big. I feel like all of my plants this year just gotten so massive. But isn't that gorgeous? Took it a little bit, and I think it had to, all of these plants needed an adjustment to the heat. But oh, it is so lovely. I was expecting it to bloom down here, but oh well. And here, just another salvia. Out of focus there, sorry about that. These are my snapdragons. I can just kind of show you over here. Oh, I did kind of pass it up. I have it all staked up because it was falling over. 1 second, there's, ouch. That is silver sage down there, looking magnificent. And then this is my snapdragons rocket orchid. I have been picking a lot, and they're an excellent cut flower. I can't say enough about this flower. I'm going to pick some more. There's a nice light sweet scent to it too. At least I think there is. But down in here, I had picked all of them in here. And you can see they're flushing out again. Which I kind of like, because in this pot they're kind of standing straight up again. They were really bent due to how much wind we were having. You can kind of see that wonky growth in there. But they've straightened out. And over here, I have some more silver sage in this pot here. That's just massive. And then sweet alyssum, looking pretty good. I'm still iffy about this plant. That is a night phlox, and it's okay, nothing major. It blooms at night, hence the name, but it is loaded in blooms, and I do have a heart. I pulled the ones that were in this container. They were just getting taken over. And then over here, another Gara, and I love this one. I love the airiness that it gives to this, especially with that broad leaf of the silver sage. I wasn't sure how I was feeling on this Datura here, because it was suffering a lot of damage. It wasn't blooming. It was, I don't know, wasn't happy with it. And then I looked out my window this morning and I saw they were blooming. It's just a single petal, and it is loaded. You can see it's a massive plant. I do have it kind of staked up down in there, but I am just afraid that it's gonna bust off. If it does, it does. The nice thing is I have the silver sage in here still. That's looking really good. But yeah, very happy that I'm seeing blooms. This is going to be a long tour just because I have a lot of pots. Variegated Plectranthus. Absolute favorite foliage plant. Besides Creeping Jenny, I really like that. I do like the sweet potato vines, but I always have bug damage with those. So this is, look at, that is amazing. And the scent, it's like a citrusy, minty, I can't explain it. It's just, I can't stop rubbing my hands on this. And I know that, I say that all the time, but it's, I love it. Back here, I'm hoping it's blooming. It probably won't be, so maybe on one of my tours it might be blooming. This Morning Glory was just limping along for the longest time, and finally it has just shot up. I've been doing some size control on this too. Oop, the mosquitoes are a little bad back here. Not horrible, but yeah, this is, and you know, love the variegated foliage, so at least it offers that too. Alright, I forgot that these are thorny. Have to kind of move them. Cleome, just seed started by me. They're a little yellow at the bottom. I'm not sure why that is. This gets a pretty good amount of sun. They look glorious. They used to be back in here, and that just got too much. Couldn't see them, and I moved them over here. And Diamond Frost Euphorbia. Look how much growth that has. Oh, and there's a weed in there. I'm going to have to try and get in there. Those squirrels. But you can see the growth that it's putting on. It's getting much taller now. It's just been a white little cloud in there this whole entire time that it's been planted. And down in here, one of my favorite salvias. And this is Rockin' Fuchsia. And it is gorgeous. It is, this is a must-have. And in fact, I think I planted up maybe 2 weeks ago, and it was maybe a fourth of this size. This is huge, and I love it because this here, the Ligularia with the purple leaves, kind of plays off the purple of this. It's got a lot of blooms on, so this is a really nice spot for it. It will get, oh, I would say at least twice this size. I bet in a month. I'm walking slowly out of here because I have my little rock garden down here and I always trip on them. In this container here, this massive beast in here, there's just one plant. Most of my containers have just one plant in them because they're huge and I know how big they'll get. This is another Black and Bloom. I love the colors of that. It's just that kind of goes with everything, and the color of the bee balm down there too. And then if you can see, I've got the yellow poking back there, and then I have the blue kind of shining through it. It's just lovely. And anything that brings in the hummingbirds. But yeah, the pot is, it's way back in there and love it. My only issue is because it's by the bird bath, the birds are having quite a time sitting on it. So it's had a lot of broken branches, stems, if you want to say that. But it's taken to pruning, so you would not even know that it's not happy about it. Over here, I had one in the cat too, but they're not doing the best. They're just kind of sitting there, but we'll see how they do at the end of the year. It's just a wax begonia. But that's okay. Still have a lot of growing season left. I am surprised that the mosquitoes are like this considering we've been super dry. I mowed the lawn the other day just because I had to mow the weeds down. They were all going to seed and I'm like, I can't have that. Otherwise it wasn't for the grass, that's for sure. I think I mowed twice in June, and normally last year it would be 3 times a week. What can I say about this begonia? It's Illuminations Apricot. More Plectranthus. So this, if you can see it, I know it's going to be in the sun. This container back here, I had to get it. I just fell in love with it at the garden center. And I could not pass it up. It was 50% off and it has my favorite. It's Apricot Illuminations in there, and then the purpley blue flower is Brawalia, which I've been trying to find and I could not. And then Dichondra Silver Falls. Sometimes there's just containers that, like, it just calls to me. I normally do my own, but I just fell in love with this. And I figured for the price it was worth it. And then, and the reason why I got it is because this one's just been limping along, and that is Illuminations too. It's just a white begonia. And what I've been having some issues with rotting. And I barely water that container. So, like I said, begonias can be a little eh. And here I have One Sun Patience surrounded by Miss Muffet caladiums. And this is just finally starting. But absolutely lovely. I love Miss Muffet. It's a shorter variety of caladium, and it's, I don't know, I did it last year around my kennel area and fell in love with it. It's just getting going, so can't wait to see how that progresses. Over here I have more Velveteen Coleus, which is doing fantastic. I've been taking some cuttings from that and the ones in front. This is so pretty. I'm hoping it sends up some more blooms here. This is a shade plant, so we'll see. Like, looking at what that is. I think it's from the tree. And then in here, This was on clearance. I put the Sun Patient here where the other one was limping along in it. I just put this here maybe 2 days ago. And I think this color will play off better on the Velveteen Coleus, and like in the throat of it, it looks almost to be a little more purpley, so all of this should look really good. Hopefully I don't have the same issue with this one. Should not be the soil. But it could be, who knows. Over here, this is baby tut papyrus grass and since I put a tray underneath the pot in here to collect the water, it looks fantastic. This loves water. Trevor's got a nice little hairdo. And then over here is where I put those coleus. That was in that one planter where they were getting bleached out. And they are loving it over here. They've been setting off a lot of flowers, and I just keep pinching them. I don't want my coleus to flower. Some flower more than others. And these begonias are doing really good. This is a Belliconia. It's called Snow. They like the heat, so maybe that's it too. And finally they're starting to droop down the back. I just keep looking to make sure I'm not having anything rotting in there. They do not get watered a whole lot. Like I said, I don't water my begonias a whole lot because they are so prone to the rot, but sometimes it can just be the plant. And in here, not much. I just had another cutting from my coleus. I had some digging in there too. Oh, those naughty little squirrels. It's a little bumpy back here because it's uneven ground because of the roots of my tree. Another Sun Patient, which is, I think, Tropical Rose. Looks good. They do get much bigger than this, so we'll see what happens. Normally I have really good luck with them, but it's been kind of a strange year. Still looks really pretty though. Nice and vibrant in the shade. I'm going to see if I can just do that like this. In here I have a bunch of caladiums, and it's Carolyn Wharton. And they just kind of go around the Dragon Wings begonia in here. So the Dragon Wings, I've been having a little issue with that with browning here, but it has bounced back. The new growth looks a little bit better. You can see the browning, but the new growth looks good. So it will get a lot bigger, hopefully. Otherwise, the caladiums can be the focal point. Today, though, I can't complain because our weather right now, it has to only be, well, it's early morning, so 70s, but the humidity has lifted. Hose is still out though. Hose will remain out until it rains. Walking slow so I don't make you guys dizzy. More Plectranthus. Going all the way to the bottom here. Tahitian Bridal Veil. And then Wandering Jew. And these are doing so good in these pots. Love how shiny this is, if you can see it on camera. And my little deer, I just put another one of my coleus cuttings. That's where the wax begonia, it rotted. It was my fault. I watered it too much. Shame on me. It wasn't the plant. This is the begonia where it was mislabeled because all these were supposed to be the apricot, but you can definitely tell that this is a little more yellow, which is fine. It's looking good. So it's got a home here. I'm not going to yank it because it doesn't look the same. Oh, I just walked into a spider web. Then over here, and this container, this is just massive. It's Golden Dreams Coleus with lemon coral sedum, and down in here. And then my Abyssinian banana. And it's always putting out a new leaf, especially with this heat. The other day it was leaning a little bit because of the wind. I'm glad it kind of straightened itself back up. And that's something where I don't want that to bust off. There's no coming back from that. If it were to bust off though, this will fill in with the coleus, so I guess there's a backup plan, worst case scenario. And this is a dragon wing begonia, pink. This looks great, this foliage. These are some of the most easiest begonias for me to grow, at least. And then a purple heart. That's getting huge. Don't mind my little collection here of watering cans. But yeah, love it. And I think that is it for the container tour. I probably missed a couple here and there. And I always keep adding containers just for a little color. But again, I started so many seeds in spring that most of those containers are my seeds. So, and a lot of clearance plants. So hopefully you enjoyed this tour, and bye for now.